Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Monroe. I am the Senior Marketing Manager at the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism. Thank you so much for joining tonight's live show. We have a very exciting show for you, and this is the first episode of our new live series called The Workshop, presented by Invest Justly. So this new series will share stories from autism self-advocates and will really highlight their experiences with adulthood, employment, and the workforce and beyond. So we'll really get a deep dive with autism self-advocates, and we're really excited to launch this show with our amazing sponsors, Invest Justly. This is also our first ever LinkedIn live show. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. If you're not watching on LinkedIn, definitely check us out and follow us on LinkedIn. You can just follow our page, so the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism, and we plan on going live, especially with this new show, The Workshop, on LinkedIn. So make sure you connect with us and follow. So this show is really exciting because it is about a new movie that's coming out called Tyson's Run. And this movie follows Tyson, who is a high schooler with autism, who's navigating high school life and the daily struggles of autism. And he really finds his place when he registers to run a local marathon in his town. And this movie is particularly special, and we're very, very proud to support its launch and premiere on March 11th because an autism self-advocate actor named Major Dodson, who you'll hear from later, actually portrays an autistic character, which is very important, and we're really excited to highlight the movie. This show, before we start, this show would not be possible without the generosity of our amazing presenting sponsor, Invest Justly. So Invest Justly is a global crowdfunding platform that provides investors of all sizes access to privately held companies. The companies on the Justly platform do the right thing and have a focus on solutions that improve the environment, social justice, and corporate governance. So thank you to Justly, and make sure you follow them at their website below. And tonight's interview will be hosted by two very special hosts. So Mike Palmer and Hanna Adams are two of our Flutie Foundation's Dougie's team runners. And right now they're training for the Boston Marathon in April. So they are very familiar with the running world. And they'll be able to talk to Major about his experience playing someone who runs marathons. And also, just to throw it all in there, we're streaming live from a really exciting location tonight. So we are live at the Majestic 7 in Watertown, Massachusetts. And I would like to invite Jimmy Joyce, who's the general manager at the Majestic 7 in Watertown, to come on up. And as he makes his way down our runway, which is, as you can see, we're literally in one of the theaters, which is amazing. It's huge. The seats are beautiful. This is Jimmy.
Hi, everybody. Hi, my name is Jimmy Joyce, and I'm the General Manager of the Majestic 7 Theater in Watertown, Massachusetts. And I'm just here to say today that we are thrilled to be premiering the film Tyson's Run at our location Friday, March 11th. You guys can see tickets on sale on our website soon, and we're excited to see you at the movies in March.
Awesome. Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you for hosting us today.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you guys, Watertown, Majestic 7 on March 11th to watch Tyson's Run.
See you there.
Thank you. And now I'm proud to introduce tonight's hosts. So I would like to bring on Mike Palmer and Hanna Adams. So they're going to take their stroll down the runway of seats. These are amazing seats, by the way. They're like comfy and they recline. This is the real deal. Hi, guys.
Hi, Liz.
So can you guys just introduce yourselves? Tell me where you're from and tell me how many marathons you guys have run.
I'm Mike Palmer. I've run 6 marathons. I'm from Hopkinton, Massachusetts.
I'm Hanna Adams. I'm from Somerville, Massachusetts, and I ran my 11th marathon starting up April this spring.
Amazing. And without further ado, I'm going to let our host kick off tonight's show by introducing our two special guests, Major Dodson, who plays Tyson, and Kim Bass, the director of Tyson's Run.
Pleased to meet both of you.
Yeah, you too. I think I'm on now. So you've run 6 marathons?
Yes, that's correct.
My goodness. And Hanna, you've run 11? I mean, I thought I did a lot of running for the movie. I mean, I don't hold a candle to that. It's very cool, guys.
She's an inspiration. She's amazing what she does. You see her out every single week.
I mean, yeah, it's awesome. And then Kim Bass is here.
Hey, thank you for having both of us, and Mike and Hannah. It's a pleasure to be with you. And Major's right. The fact that you two have dedicated certainly part of your lives to running marathons for a great cause is inspirational, and we really appreciate what you do, and we appreciate the fact that you're supporting this film that uses marathon running as a vehicle to broaden the world's knowledge about autism and those who are on the spectrum. So thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Major and Kim, can you introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from?
Well, I will go ahead and start. My name is Major Dodson. I played Tyson. I'm originally from Dallas, Fort Worth, back in Texas. I moved to Los Angeles with my family a good few years ago to support my acting, and that is where I auditioned for Tyson's Run. So it's nice to come kind of full circle and bring that up.
And I am Kim Bass. I was born in Utica, New York, and raised there and in Frankfort, New York, but I reside in Los Angeles. And I am the writer and director of the film Tyson's Run.
Well, it's very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you
And
guys too.
let's kind of give us a clue for what the movie is about. Kim, can you give us a brief of the symbols, what this movie is about?
Sure. Tyson's Run is a film about family, first of all. But in the center of that family is a 15-year-old boy named Tyson, who, through his effort at running and learning to run a marathon, hopes to heal the rift between his mother and his father and make his family whole again. And those who surround Tyson need to learn to allow him to achieve all that he can achieve. And that is quite a bit, because Tyson puts no limits on himself. So it's a story about hope, about faith, about family, and most importantly, about respecting all people, no matter how they are, who they are, or where they're from.
I couldn't agree more. Everyone should have the equality for inside and out.
Absolutely. You have another question, perhaps, Mike?
Kim, can you tell us what inspired you to write this movie?
Sure. It's a very simple yet complex, emotionally complex story. And I was inspired initially by a conversation with a young boy, perhaps 8 or 9 years of age, who didn't want to run anymore because all of the other boys in his school could run faster than he could, and he felt left behind. So rather than struggle to keep up with these quote unquote super fast boys, he just gave up running altogether. And I found that to be so disheartening to hear. And so that was the nugget, the inspiration, the spark, so to speak, which led to a wider story of trying to tell some version of what goes on in society and sometimes in families when we don't allow those of us to be free to flourish, to do the best that they can, and as a lesson for others not to give up, even if other people make you feel less than who you really are and what you really are. So it's about determination and belief and faith, but it all started with that simple story that I heard from the little boy.
Major, it's always exciting to see someone with autism portray a character with autism. But what is so special about this movie and about you, Lola Tyson?
Well, this movie is special because though Tyson is on the spectrum, it doesn't entirely revolve around, okay, this character is on the spectrum. And it's about him growing as a person and being unhindered by what people ultimately think of him and expect of him. So many people have grown up, on the spectrum. They're kind of pigeonholed into that box of, okay, you can't go and do this, you can't go and do that. Okay, you have to act this specific way for me to think, oh, well, you can go and do whatever you want. Just a lot of people don't have that independence when they are perfectly capable with the right help, with the right attitude, with the right amount of determination to go and do what they want to achieve. And I just think it's special because it focuses more on Tyson as a person rather than what he has, that has made it more difficult for people to accept him for who he is himself. And I just think it's a very nice movie that balances all these themes and these characters to create a cohesive story that just, it's very hopeful, it's full of determination, and it's inspiring.
It sounded inspiring by seeing the trailer of your movie too. It breaks my heart every time in tears. Even anyone with any spectrum or any learning disability, for myself or anyone too.
Well, that's
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. It means we're touching the right people, and hopefully that inspires people to go to the theaters to see the entire story.
I can't wait to see it.
We can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah, you're in a very nice theater, enjoyed it.
As you may know, people with autism struggle to find jobs. Can either of you speak about why it's so important to use that this film was committed to casting and employing a diverse workforce?
Well, I'll take it first, Major, and then you can back clean up, okay? So I think that this film is a perfect example of what you're just speaking about, Mike, because Major wasn't hired as the actor in the film because he was on the spectrum. His parents, his mother, his father, they allowed him to fulfill his dream of becoming an actor. And he's a very good actor. And Major auditioned for the role just like all the other 162 boys who came in and auditioned for the role. And as a matter of fact, we, meaning the casting director, Lisa Hamill, and myself as the writer-director of the picture, were unaware of his autism, the fact that he was on the spectrum. We didn't know that. All we knew and what we experienced was a young man very prepared to audition for a very special role, and he did a great job, and that's how he got the role. And we found out after the fact that he happened to be a person who's on the spectrum. And so there were no limitations put on him by his parents and by the other professionals who had worked with Major. And he walked through that door just like every other person and auditioned as any other actor could, and he won the role. And I think that speaks a lot to what you brought up about getting jobs and working. And I think that Major auditioned for a job, and he was better than 261 other people, and he got the job.
Yeah, and it takes work and help. Of course, people who are on the spectrum, they have different levels of preparation that they need to understand a job and how to fulfill it and how to work with other people. And like he mentioned, if I hadn't had that support from my parents and other professionals over the years who have worked with me to, prepare me for the world. I mean, I'm an 18-year-old man now, doing my own things, going out and making friends, working on music, you name it. I have so many things that I want to do, and they're realistic aspirations now that I have the support that I have gotten over the years. And, amazing parents, that absolutely is a very important factor into people who might not think that they're fit for a job, finding out that they are.
Well, it's important to have your parents and everyone surrounded by you be supportive, no matter what, to
Very.
reach out for your dreams.
And I'm very, very grateful for everybody who has.
This is my 11th marathon coming up in April. Major, when's your, I don't know what to say, next marathon to say? But can you help us walk through how much training you did to prepare for your running aspect of the film?
I think after this interview, I'll go ahead and run a marathon real quick. It was so much preparation. At the time we were filming Tyson's Run, I was living in Houston, which of course is very hot, humid. To prepare for the film, I had to do some endurance training at my local high school. I had to do laps around their really large parking lot. They were timed. I had to learn how to stretch. I had to learn how to maintain proper form, do breathing. That's a part of the movie. Tyson had to train for it, but if I hadn't done that training, I don't think it would have worked out as nicely as it did. I wouldn't have been able to go up against people who are actual marathon runners. For the film, they had people who have run in marathons, such as yourself, and it was a struggle keeping up with them sometimes. So if I hadn't done that, I think I would have been very sorry. So I'm happy that we did the preparation for it. It took a lot.
Well, it's the hard work and dedication, no matter what, for anyone who wants to get up to 26.2. It was tough for me, no matter what, through humid, sunny weather, snowy blizzard, frigid.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That we have now. It's just the next step to get out the doors and make sure you can reach your goal. And I'm glad that you will prepare for the humidity too.
Oh man.
Major.
And another thing to mention too is that we filmed this in Atlanta in July and August. I mean, it was very hot, very humid. I mean, and of course, to get those perfect takes, you have to go over and over and over. And while we were there, we were staying at the, what was it called? I can't remember, but it was a it was a great hotel. We had a little suite, and up on one of the higher floors, they had a gym, and they had there a couple of treadmills, you know. So every once in a while, I would go up there with my mom, I think every other night, and just train on the treadmills, see how long I could last. And it felt like I was going to fall apart. I mean, it was some really grueling training to make sure that I was ready for it, because before this, the most exercise I would do in a day would be to get up out of bed. And so it certainly came in handy.
It came in very handy. When Major showed up on the set, I said, "You're ready for this?" He said, "I'm ready." I said, "Because you have a lot of running to do. We have lots of takes. And for the realism effect, we needed long takes. We didn't want to chop it up. We needed to show him running a quarter of a mile. We used drone cameras and cameras on carts that would move along with them." And I said, "Major, you're going to have to run hard and fast, because if we ask these other marathon trained runners to slow down, it's going to look as if they're slowing down in order to make you look fast. So you have to push and push and push." And so to capture the emotion that of a Herculean-like effort was easy, because that's how hard he was pushing. And I'm going to tell a funny story about Major's mom. After about take 12, it was maybe 95 degrees and 100% humidity. And we were doing these particularly long takes. And at one point, Major's mom came over to me and said, "I think he's pushing too hard. He's running against grown men." And I turned and I looked at his mother respectfully and said, "Mom, the movie is called Tyson's Run." And he has to run. And she said, "I got it." And we gave him some water. he went over and told his mom he was okay, sent him back another quarter miles on a cart and said, action. And he had to do it all over again many times. So he definitely put the work in with the running, but he also put the work in as an actor. And that was a tremendous thing, because we had other actors who surrounded his character who came prepared. They didn't have to do the running, but they had very emotional arcs that they needed to play. And those actors, included Barkhad Abdi and Amy Smart, Reno Wilson, Rory Cochran, Claudia Zavallos, and newcomer Layla Felder. They all brought what they needed to bring to make this picture what it became, which is a beautifully crafted, inspirational film. And poor Major had to do all of that emotional work and then couple that with all this physical work. So it was a grueling picture for him, but he held up very well, and he did an amazing job. And we're very proud of him, and we're very proud of this picture. So
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna jump in here really
Sure.
quickly. I have my popcorn. This is an amazing interview, so we're really enjoying it. But in case you're just joining us, in case you're just joining our live stream now, I just want to welcome you to the live stream. This is episode 1 of the Flutie Foundation's new live series called The Workshop, sponsored by Invest Justly. So thank you so much for tuning in. And you are sitting in on a live interview with Major Dodson, lead actor of Tyson's Run, and director Kim Bass of Tyson's Run, hosted by our very own Boston Marathon runners and autism self-advocates, Hanna Adams and Mike Palmer. So if you're enjoying the show, make sure you click like, make sure you share this on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching it, and follow us. Enjoy the rest of the interview. I'm going to go eat my popcorn, and take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Liz. I hope you enjoy that popcorn too.
Mm-hmm.
you're here.
So this movie is mainly about determination. This question is for both of you. What lessons do you take away from filming this movie, and what do you think families can learn from watching this movie?
Major, you go first.
All right, sure. It was a very daunting task playing Tyson, figuring out how to run without injuring myself, doing all those takes like we mentioned. It was very demanding upon me. And when we finished principal photography for the movie and I went back home, for a very long time, and still now, I found out that I can do more than I initially think I can. Because, Tyson's Run, when I was filming it and when I was preparing for it, I had some anxiety about how am I going to run so much? How am I going to portray this character in a respectful manner? Make him a real, a human being on the screen. It was a lot of work, but then eventually it paid off, and it was just this kind of euphoric feeling in me of, wow, you can do that, and just pat myself on the back, like good job. All the really hard work paid off, and now I'm here and I'm making a lot of people very happy with the performance and that the film's just touching people. I mean, it makes me very, very happy.
Okay.
Yeah, and so for me, the takeaway is that we were able to come together as a diverse community of professionals to tell a story that we all felt was an important story with important themes, but had a very nice entertainment value to it. And it starts, these things start small, like an idea. An idea is a small thing, but can become a grand thing. And the idea became a script, and that script was then sent to an executive producer and a fantastic human being, John Capetta, who saw the value in this story, and then through his company Planet 9 Productions decided that this is a story that had to be told, and greenlit the film. And from that point on, other professionals came on board, casting director Lisa Hamill, producers Eric Upshur, Asante White, Bruce Lane, and others. And we did something special. We had, many people. We had producers on both coasts. We had Deanna Shapiro, who was on the West Coast, coordinating with people on the East Coast. So it took a lot to put this all together, but the results of all of that work is a film that we're all proud of. And so my takeaway is that the effort that it took to make this film, and the understanding and the interpersonal relationships and respect for one another and what their weaknesses and their strengths, is exactly what the story is about. It's about respecting others, coming together to allow others to do what they can do to help the greater effort for the greater good. And so I think that behind the scenes was just as important as in front of the camera. And so the takeaway for me is that we all need to take a step back, take inventory of ourselves and our actions and our thoughts, and do something good through a communal effort, and understanding that those who might appear to be different are just another form of the same person you are, and they deserve the respect and all of the same trappings and trimmings and love and joy that each other person on the planet wants for themselves and for their family and their loved ones. So it's a kind of a big takeaway, but it just boils down to respect others as you would want them to respect, you.
I couldn't agree with that anymore. That's a fantastic point there, Kim.
Yeah, same here. I would agree with everything of what you said too, Kim. You should respect anyone inside and out, and never judge a book by its cover too.
Absolutely. That's right, Hannah. Never judge a book by its cover.
Finding your place and where you belong is so important. I found my place within my running community. When I'm out training or running a marathon, I feel strong and happy. Major, can you tell us about what it's like for you to have autism and be in the field of acting too?
Well, it took a very long time to kind of figure out how to harness eye contact and whatnot. I went to occupational therapy when I was younger. I learned things like, how to write with my hands, how to look at somebody in the eye for more than 30 seconds and just hold a conversation. And so growing up, I had to go to many an acting coach to kind of understand how to interact with another character as a character, because it didn't come naturally. I mean, to some certain extent it did, but there was definitely a lot of work involved. And of course, now I'm like completely different. I've changed almost entirely into who I am now. But being on a set is just one of my favorite things. Being around other hardworking people who know their thing, they know their craft, they pour their effort into the specific production that I've been lucky to be part of. It's just a very rewarding experience every single time to do that and to meet these people. And a lot of them I'm still great friends with. Layla Felder, Isaiah Hasher, they're both on this film. I've talked to them many times. Layla Felder's fantastic. It is always a very rewarding experience to be part of something like Tyson's Run and come away from it with that.
Sound like that you've been awarded through thick and thin for this awesome experience through this movie, Major.
Absolutely.
And you should be very accomplished and proud.
I do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I couldn't agree with you more, Hannah.
Well, that's coming from somebody very accomplished that I am proud of. So. So what else have we got?
That's me. My bad.
It's all fun.
Sorry.
Okay, Mike.
not very somewhere else in the script. So you guys created a great connection working on this film. Kim, can you tell us what it was like working with the cast and working with an Oscar nominee, Mark had Abdi?
Sure.
What
Well,
was that like? I mean, it's not many days you get to work with like an Oscar. I mean,
that's true in certain circumstances, but the reality is Barkad's a great guy, and it's fantastic that he was nominated for an Oscar for his work with opposite Tom Hanks in the film Captain Phillips. But each project is new. It's new for Barkad, just like with any other actor. So all the actors came on board with the same sense of responsibility for their characters and for the responsibility of the story. And it was a wonderful experience working with all actors, as a matter of fact, who were involved with the project. And Barkad, was a joy, just as all the other actors, were a joy to work with. And we all understand that playing a role sometimes can get you accolades. Sometimes you get some trophies and you get some nice benefits, but it's not about what you've done in the past I believe, for these actors, because every time they get a new script, every time they are cast in a new role, the clock gets set back to zero and it starts ticking all over again. And so each actor brings their A game, and that's, what we expected. No actor can walk around on a set, with a trophy in their hand saying, this is what I got from my last picture, because frankly, that's not going to help on this picture. It's the character, it's a new character, it's the new effort, and it's the new experience. And I felt very fortunate to have such dedicated actors who understood the story, who were passionate about the story we were telling, and felt that doing their jobs meant doing a deep dive into each character and then bringing out the best of those characters by their emotional truth, which tied them to that character. So as a writer director, it was a lot of fun because I put the characters on paper and then had the good fortune of being able to be on set with these wonderful actors and watching them breathe life into the characters that I had originally created just in a very stiff sort of black and white world of letters and white paper. I enjoyed myself immensely, and I hope that the actors did as well. And I think they did, because it shows in the film. The picture plays as if everyone enjoyed what they were doing, believed in what they were doing. So that was my experience.
And I can testify, I had a great time.
I paid Major to say that.
Yeah, you just don't see the pile of money over there.
Major, what happened to that $5 you made me pay you anyway?
Oh, gosh, why did you pay me? Why did you pay me $5? Remind me.
I don't know if you want me to remind you. There was a particular scene and a particular sort of costuming concern.
It's fine. In retrospect, I look pretty good. So
absolutely, you look great. So Major blackmailed me, everyone. I want the world to know. I said, if you don't pay me $5, I'm not going to stand there. So
we had so many funny experiences.
Well, looking to see if both of you can share a message from the movie that you want someone with autism watching this show right now to know or take away. Why is it important for people and families with autism to see this movie?
I think I will take this one. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I'll rehash it again for this context. I wouldn't be anywhere where I am today if I didn't have the support of my parents. If they didn't let me go out and try new things, if they didn't let me try to be Tiny Tim, none of these things that I have experienced or done over the years that have ultimately led to my growth as a person, understanding how things work in the world. If I hadn't been supported by my parents and the people around me, I wouldn't have gotten to experience those things. I would be something of a husk of what I feel like I am now. So it is, if there are parents of neurodivergent children who see this movie, I hope you feel inspired. If your kids are already out doing their own thing, it's fantastic. I love seeing that. But if you've had your reservations, a child who you've had, just give them a shot and see what they can do, because they might surprise you. And I'm sure Kim Bass has something to say about this too. He's had a couple of great stories about this.
I concur wholeheartedly what Major just said. Give them a shot and let them surprise you with what they can do. And I'll share this. I'll let a father I had the pleasure of meeting after a test screening of the film in Houston, Texas, speak for me. And after the film, this father walked out of the theater into the lobby because his daughter needed to use the ladies' room. And his daughter was challenged. His daughter had Down syndrome, and she was probably 15 years of age, the same age as Tyson in the movie. And he ushered her, somewhat escorted her to the ladies' room, and she went in on her own. And then this father turned and walked over to me, having recognized me as the writer-director, because I had to do a little talk at the end of the film. And he said to me, "I want to shake your hand and thank you for making this movie. Seeing this film makes me understand that I need to be a better father to my daughter." And then he gave me a hug and he proceeded to cry on my shoulder. So, and then his daughter came out of the ladies' room. He put his arms around her and walked her out of the movie theater. So he obviously was moved by the picture, and it was a great takeaway, not only for him, but for me, because it gave me the feeling that we had done something right in telling the story to elicit that sort of response from a father regarding his daughter. So I hope that, all people are different. All people have a different sort of take on life and different experiences. But I think that there's enough in this film, enough joy, enough love, enough spirituality, enough hope, enough determination, and enough fun so that people can find their own sort of elements that mean something to them. But I believe that there's something in this picture for everyone. But most importantly, it leaves you somewhat inspired and feeling good about what is possible. And all things are possible for all people if you allow them to fly, if you allow them to flourish, if you don't put them in a box, if you don't say that they can't because they are a certain way. Just get rid of those thoughts and let everyone be free, unshackled. Let them just fly as high as they can fly and achieve their own dreams based upon their own gifts and abilities. And every single person on this planet has gifts, has abilities, have thoughts and dreams and hopes, and they deserve to be allowed to aspire to the greatness that they have within themselves. That's what I believe, and I hope this picture even sparks a little bit of that thought process in the people who see the film.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I have parents that allow me to set my dreams and allow me to run all these marathons, to let me be who I am and accept me for me. And we should allow and let anyone and believe in the limitation and the accomplished and let them fly, as you said, Kim.
And I couldn't agree more. And I think you are a special person who's giving a special message. And I thank your parents for allowing you to do what you do, which is how it's possible for us to be here this evening having this wonderful conversation that we're having. And I'm proud of you for what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, my popcorn's almost empty, but luckily our event hosts at the Majestic 7 in Watertown, Mass. I think they're giving us free refills, you said, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're ready for an encore.
Yeah.
But thank you both so much for being guests on tonight's premiere episode of the Flutie Foundation's The Workshop, presented by Invest Justly. We're really grateful to be partnering with Tyson's Run, and be on the lookout for more episodes coming soon, but not on March 11th, because on March 11th, we will be seeing the premiere of Tyson's Run in theaters. So make sure you check your local theater to see if it's playing near you, get your tickets. And a huge thank you to our hosts, Mike and Hannah. You guys did amazing tonight. And if you two ever want a career change, our team is ready to welcome you with open
Let's go.
arms. Let's go.
I might take you up on that.
You run a marathon.
I need to get some exercise more than I already do. So I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it.
As long as I don't have to chase Mike and Hannah 26 point, how many miles?
26.2.
Exactly. It's that last point too that I might have a little bit of problem with. I might need a
Yeah,
go
I
kart
agree.
or something.
If you're fast enough, you can just walk.
There you go. It's been
Amazing.
a great time. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we'll see you all in the next episode of The Workshop. Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
good
All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the film.